Okay, hello everyone. This is Bradley Henderson from Bradley Photography. Bradley Photography is a massive company consisting of one person, and that's me. I'm going to have a quick go at a wee screencast editing tutorial. I might speed some of it up, I might slow some of it down. But please feel free to add suggestions, comments, things you do differently, things you do the same. Add them below in the channel's feed and let me know what you think. So I'll try and keep talking as I'm going through this. I'm using a Wacom bamboo little green pen and tablet combo kind of thing. This is a picture of a model called Mimi. She's from the Czech Republic with makeup by Grania Graham and hair by Ethna Rickard. So, here we go. I'm going to try and keep the layers tidy. I'm going to start by having a quick zoom in, and we're going to repair some of the skin, some of the wee blotches and wrinkles and stuff. Mimi's not exactly 100 years old, but there are a few things there. So, healing brush tool, this is just the method I use anyway. So, in with the healing brush tool, we'll hold Alt, we'll select a source and we'll paint down here, get rid of that. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I've done this loads and loads and loads of times, and sometimes I half-ass it and do it quite quick, and other times, like what I'll do here, I'll spend a bit of time and go in and take as many little blemishes out as I can. My advice would be spend the time, do the work. It's excruciating sometimes, other times it's handy enough, but the more time and effort you put into the detail of repairing the skin, the easier the skin softening process becomes. The way I go through this could be quite hairy. I'll see how this goes. No, Command Z, that wasn't good enough. The way I do things like this is I'll repair the skin, then I will smooth the skin. A lot of people like to leave it at that, I don't. Once you go that far, you'll end with just a film of really smooth plasticky looking skin. After that, then we'll add a bit of contour and texture to the skin. So basically what we're doing is, how does this go? Not too bad. What was I talking about? Anyone? Nobody listening. So we're repairing the skin, smoothing it, taking all the detail out of it, and then putting the detail back in. So I'm going to keep going at this. At the minute I'm just on her face. I'm going to shut up for a minute. Shut up, Phil. I'm going to be quiet for a minute and keep going at this. Might do a wee fast forward. And we shall resume when this process has finished. So. Okay, something else I'm just thinking of. Oh crap! That was the sample went too close to the edge there, and it got a bit crazy. So stop. Control Command Z on that, and again Command Z. Okay, so smaller brush by the brackets key near Enter on the keyboard. Command plus to zoom in. Hold down the space bar. The wee hand comes up, and I can drag into where I want to look. So I'm grabbing a source with this little target yoke and then painting that source in. What the source does is applies the texture. What the healing brush does, is applies the texture of your source to where you're painting. So for example here, there's a kind of bit of a contour here that I want to fix. If I go If I source from down here, the skin texture is much different down here than it is up here. I'll take a bigger brush, maybe not that big, and I'll sample quite close to where it is, and I'll start painting that in, and that's not too bad. What sometimes is handy to do is, my source is down here, and I'll just do one sweeping line right up. That means it's just sampling a texture right below it. If I take the texture from too far away where the skin's totally different, it'll come up, you'll notice straight away. So for example here, I'll take a source from here and I'll paint it in here. Yeah, and it's been too much for Photoshop to handle, so the texture here is much different here. It's trying to match it as best as it can, but it can't. However, if I take it from quite close, it does it quite well. It's not really a colour thing. I can take a texture from a part of the skin that's a totally different colour from where I'm working. It's the texture that it works with. It repairs the texture and the blemishes. I'm fully aware that I could be talking absolute nonsense, but I don't care. I'm so popular today. My third text all day. Yeah, what's nice to do as well is we can go in here, we can take the spot healing brush. See this red in the eyes? I know we're doing skin, but whatever. A quick paint over there, we'll take those little bits out of the eyes. Does a really good job of that. And if you're into whitening the whites of the eyes, makes a big difference. You're not having to, you're whitening bits of red, and if you've any, a lot of what people do is a big massive skin soften, a big woo skin soften hair, soften lips, soften eyes, and if there's red or pink in there, it just goes into a big crazy smudge. Okay, earring hole. Hello, little earring hole. If there's no earring in, not really much point in having that there, so we'll try. There's a lot of crazy hair stuff going on around it, but we'll paint in and see where we go. Not too bad. That's a bit obvious. We'll take a sample. There's a bit of hair there. Let's see if it'll. Yeah, we can see that because we're super zoomed in, but it's not too bad. Leave it in the corner of our eye. We'll fix 2. Alt pick our source and paint that in there. Yeah. Now, zooming out. Computer dying a bit because I've got a 350 odd megabyte file. Ah, look, that's what happens when you run out of RAM. Edit undo, edit undo, edit undo. Please? Please? Okay, I'm going to hit stop on this recording and panic, and I'll be back soon. My computer is finished having a hissy fit, and I have taken the liberty, zooming out, of going ahead and fixing the rest of the bits around the neck and arms, etc. Just to save some time. So, now what do we do? Now we are going for skin smoothing. This is jumping again, amazing. Okay, and to do that, we need to select the skin. So to smooth skin, we want to smooth the skin and nothing else. So the bits here around the forehead, the nose, under the eyes, cheeks, and possibly the neck as well. We want to stay away from areas of particular detail, so the lips, creases around the nose, especially around the eyes and eyebrows, and keep hair out as well. And to do that, what do we do? Well, we hit Q for quick mask, and we're going to grab ourselves a brush with full opacity. Yes, brush, full opacity, soft brush so that we're allowed to make mistakes. Lift the size up, that's not too bad there. So what quick mask does is, it lets me go in and paint a selection, or on the other hand, it actually lets me paint what I don't want selected. So what I'm actually doing here is going in and telling Photoshop, I don't want to select this skin. I'm overcomplicating this. Essentially what we're going to do is, this is going to make a selection based on what isn't painted red, and then we're going to invert that selection. Still popular. We're going to invert that selection, and we'll have a selection of the skin. So that's what we're doing. It's a nice soft brush. I'm being careful not to go too close to edges. We'll get a smaller brush. I don't want to go in there because I'll probably get a bit of hair and stuff. We'll get a finer brush. So this is just rough. And for example, if we do, say for example around there, around the nose or around the cheeks where we've definitely gone over, if that becomes an issue and we've done that, the easiest way to do it, to unselect these bits, is going, and we're using a black brush at the minute, so X on the keyboard will swap that to white. We can get a smaller brush, and that unselects or unmasks what we've done. So yeah, so you can go through and be quite crude with the selection, and then go through with a finer brush like this, with a white brush, and delete all your mistakes, which is always nice. Yes, Stuart, my technical support, is telling me why my computer's having such a bitch fit. It's because it's recording loads of video, and I have Illustrator open, and I have Lightroom open, and I have Photoshop open, and obviously iMessage too. Yeah, so it's all good. In around here. I still sometimes, if I'm being lazy, I use the mouse to do this, and you can do it with mouse. I've done it for years, just using the mouse. But you can, with a bit of practice, you can get, you make so many less mistakes with a tablet and a stylus. Right, phone. Yeah, take a bit of bigger brush in there. I really only ever use this masking technique for this. There's probably loads of things you can use it for. By no means have I just discovered all this. Some of these techniques I didn't just discover all this, they're all like stolen off different people on YouTube. I've learned all this stuff off YouTube, so it's not like I'm handing over any massive industry secrets. It's all out there. I'm just doing it myself because I don't know. Okay, so maybe red moustache there. Okay, so we'll do face and neck and arms, etc. separately. So now that's our selection made. I know this is very echoey. I'm in a big, pretty much a prison cell. So we hit Q again, and that shows us our selection. If we zoom out, we will see that Photoshop has now selected everything apart from what I painted. So what we're going to do is, we can do it through the menu, select and inverse the selection, or what I'm going to do is Command and I. No, we're not. Command Shift and I, and that inverts the selection. So we've made a selection of the skin. We now hit Command and J. You'll see over there it has made a new layer based on what that selection was. So if I get rid of the background, there we go, and that's what we've got. So softening, blurring, etc. We will go up to Filter. We will go to Blur, and we'll go to Surface Blur. Okay, we'll wait for Photoshop to catch up. And it'll give us a quick preview of what this is going to look like. So that's quite a lot. Yeah, that is quite a lot. You'll see the kind of sharp line that we had we've kind of lost as the blur has happened, but the skin tones all blend together quite evenly, quite nicely. There's nice bits of highlight around here, so we'll say okay on that. And when we put the rest of Mimi back in, we will look at this and go, that looks ridiculous. I finished the selection of the neck. Wasn't a big deal, but you can see here where I've selected up to the necklace and left it out. It's best to do these all separately. The skin tones won't all need the same. The parts of the skin won't all need the same amount of blur. They won't all need the same amount of correction. So, and we are here. I've made the selection of the arm. Also, what I didn't say in the last one, so there's a quick correction we made. I'll show you how to do this. I'm keeping everything in folders. So the layers for the face are here, and the layers for the neck are here. I've made 2 layers, so I'll show you what I've done now. And this is what I did for the face and neck. So we now have the selection of the arm. I'll zoom out. I'll hit Command J twice. And so this bottom layer, which we'll rename, will be the smoothing. Right, Clifford, thank you. And this top layer will be what's called the high pass. The high pass is what we're going to apply. It's a sharpening technique, but it kind of puts the details of the pores back in to the skin. So we'll turn that off for the time being. We'll select the 2 of these, and we'll go down and put them in a little folder and call this boyo arms and hats, if we're being pedantic. Enter. Splendid. So I've turned this one off, and we're going to edit the high pass. The skin texture is going to go on top of the smoothing. So at first we're looking at the smoothing. We're going filter, blur, surface blur. Photoshop will give us a preview in 4 hours. There we go. Not too bad. I might stick the radius of that and the threshold up a tiny bit, if you will allow me to, Photoshop. Yeah, so there's a bit more variance in tones and colours in the arm than there is in the face and neck, so I'm just trying to eliminate that best I can. Yeah, that's not too bad. Nice bit of highlight in the shoulder. Groovy, groovy, groovy. And we'll say OK. Folder on silent. Yeah, so this is the file structure, the layer structure. Keep this. What it means is I'll be able to turn all these layers off and go straight back to the original image. So it's a totally non-destructive way of editing. If I make a mistake or I decide, you know what, the smoothing on the face looks terrible, I can simply delete that and redo it, and I still have all my selections for the rest of the skin. So I'll hit stop on this, and we'll fast forward to when our surface blur has been applied. Okay, all's been applied. I went ahead and applied the effect we were talking about on the face. So as you can see, the face was smoothed, and then we've added back the pores, as you can see here. So we're going to do the same with the neck. So open up the neck folder. What we're looking at the minute is the smooth skin of the neck. And what we're going to do is we have this layer above, which is essentially just our selection. It's exactly what we were working with before. We are going to change the blending mode to linear light, and it's going to go all crazy, like a 3rd-degree burn. And we're going to filter, other, and high pass. And high pass, what it does is puts a grain into that layer on top of the smoothing based on the selection that you made. So it's making a grain based on the skin that we started with earlier, and as we slowly bump up the radius of that, you'll see the pores starting to come in. There they are. So, oh, excuse me. As we go through these, you'll see why we do the face separately, the neck separately, the arms separately, because they require different amounts of enhancements and smoothing, etc. So 2.7 is too far. Usually between 0.5 and 2 is about as much as you're ever going to need, depending on the resolution of the image. So that's not too bad there. We'll say OK. And we'll do the same with Mr. Arm. Zoom out a bit. You can see the full effect here. So get rid of view, arms and hands, openy, turn the visibility of that on. Linear light. Did we get linear light on that? Linear light we did. Filter, other, high pass. This is quite rough. You can see it, you can kind of see around the edges where this effect hasn't been applied. And refining that selection will just fix that. So I mean, we can bump that away up and you can see where it's too much. So down below 2, 1.8, that's not too bad. So you can see even at that distance where the contours are back and the skin texture is back. So have a look at the full image. So because we have kept our non-destructive workflow, I can turn all those off and we can see where we started and where we've ended up. So I think that looks pretty good. Other than that, what I'll probably go on and do is I'll tidy some of the hair, I'll tidy a few creases I can see in the background, but as far as skin is concerned, there'll be a bit of colour adjustments. I'll take some of the redness out and I'll do an overall sharpen of the whole thing, and that's where we'll go. So I'll stick the finished image at the end of the video for you to have a look. Any questions, by all means, stick them in the comments. Hit a wee thumbs up down at the bottom here somewhere and subscribe by all means. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Goodbye.